All right, so today on Saturday Morning Comics, we have a very special guest, our first ever guest. You may know him as the star writer for DC with his work in Peacemaker Tries Hard and/or the current DC Vertigo title End of Life, or perhaps you know him from his indie work Wrestle Heist, where he's a triple threat of an artist, writer, and letterer, but most importantly, a father. Kyle Starks.
I am a father.
Welcome.
Look at me go. I make comics and daughters. Same process, strangely. Strangely, it's the same process. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, weird.
That explains why none of us have kids.
You have comics? Maybe you're doing it different.
We haven't written anything yet.
Yeah,
so.
see, you'll learn. You'll learn. Well, I'll set you down after this, and we'll have a nice talk about how things are made.
So yeah, Kyle Starks, or apparently our dad.
Possibly.
So Kyle, if you don't mind, why don't you, besides that glorious intro I wrote, I mean, come on, give a little introduction about yourself and how you got started in the comics industry.
Oh my gosh, how I got started is such a long story. I'm Kyle Starks. I've been making comics professionally for 9 years. I think my first comic I made 13 years ago. I was 33, which is a real inspirational story for anybody. And here's how it happened. I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible. My kids joke I tell the same story every single time. I don't tell it every time because I do a lot of repeat podcasts and I don't have to. So when I was a kid, I loved comics. I grew up reading comics. I learned how to read on comics. When I was 14, I started working at the local comic book shop, which was also a video rental store, used books, used music, baseball cards, and pornography. It had everything a growing boy could possibly want. And because of that, like I had access, like if I wanted to watch a movie, I could just watch any movie. We watched them for free. I didn't have to pay for video rentals. I didn't have to pay for books. I didn't have to pay for comics. I mean, we had to pay for the comics, but we could read them for free, right?
Yeah.
And you're there all day, so you have nothing better to do than read comics and to listen to music. And I think a lot of that, watching so many movies, reading so many books, reading so many comics, made it so down the road I would actually be good at this. When I was 18, it was 1995, and comics were very grimdark and not very fun. There were a few exceptions.
Shout out Rob Liefeld.
We don't hate on Rob Liefeld. I'll tell you what really was. It was the Marvel reaction to Watchmen, whereas like everything's street level, everything's gritty, everyone's dark, no one's having any fun. And yeah, we got the Night Stalkers, hell yeah. But also just like no one's having fun. Everyone's suffering all the time. At this time, probably New Warriors was coming out. I want to say Kurt Busiek was doing some pretty good stuff, and like Giffen was doing JLI. Hitman was probably coming out. It just wasn't fun, and I really got out of comics. I went to college. I went to be a fine artist. I sold drugs. I wasn't reading comics, man. Like I was imbibing, and I was having a great time. And that was it for a long time. When I got married when I was, I can't remember, 20 years ago. Who knows? So, she's asleep. She doesn't know anything.
She's not going to watch this.
She's not going to watch this. She'll never know. I think 22 years ago this October, and we had a kid. My oldest kid's 18. And wife was like, we want to have another kid. So 2 years later, we had a kid. And before I had that kid, after having a kid for 2 years, I realized like I'm never going to have free time again. Like all my free time belongs to this tiny human. And this new human's going to take whatever is left. So I made a list of things I wanted to do before the kid was born. And it was a list of like 6 things. And it's not a bit. I only know one of them because I only did one of them. And number 1 was finish a comic. Not make a comic, not draw a comic, not write a comic. It was finish a comic. I ended up doing that wrong. I did a 160-page comic called The Legend of Ricky Thunder that I posted online. And I got discovered by, at the time, a very good, that now doesn't exist, comic site. They suddenly people are reading this comic and people are like, we like your comic though, you should do shows. So I was like, okay, so I did a Kickstarter and I went to shows. And what I found is like making that book at 33 is that I really like making comics. Like I'm pretty good at it. That's a benefit, but it's like, I really like doing it. So I'm doing it all the time. But it's like, oh, so I did it. I did a Kickstarter. I did pretty good. I went to a couple shows. I had a really great time at the convention. I told you have to go to conventions. I was like, why? They're like, that's what you do. I said, okay. And so I went, I had a really great time. So I was like, oh, we're going to do another one. That making a book was great. So I made Sex Castle. I did it as a Kickstarter. Did great. I went to shows. I got discovered sort of at the shows by Matt Fraction. whose plane didn't take off. There's a longer story. I got discovered by Matt Fraction. His plane didn't take off, and he was tweeting it. He was tweeting. He's like, I know what it was. It's stuff that he had. Like, I know he had a bag full of stuff people gave him, or that he asked for, that he bought. He bought mine. We met. It's a longer story. Don't worry about it. But he was tweeting it, and I sold like 6 books like immediately because Matt Fraction said a book's good. You know what I mean? I was like, hell yeah, I just made $120 off Matt Fraction. But he emailed me like the next day. He's like, do you want to talk to Image? And I was like, sure. I had a factory job. Like I had a great union job working at a printing factory. I had 2 kids at this point, right? Like I have 2 little kids. This is just a great hobby. It's just a hobby I'm really enjoying because I really like making comics. And what happened is Sex Castle came out. It was optioned for by the Workaholics before it ever hit stores. Nominated for an Eisner for Best Humor Publication. That got me Rick and Morty. I did Rick and Morty for 5 years. Everything beget the next thing. I never thought anyone would be. I just thought it was something that was happening. I never thought it was going to be a career. I never thought that I would be a 3-time Eisner nominee. I never thought that I was going to write Lobo. I never thought like I was going to be a Vertigosman. Like it's just been a series of like in many ways good luck though. You know, if you say that to the people, like I tell Matt Fraction all the time, like I have a blood debt to him because like if it wasn't for him, like I'd still be working in a factory somewhere, which there's nothing wrong with, but this is better. It's way less work. No insurance though, obviously. Like there's no 401k, there's no insurance, there's problems. But I don't have to check in. I don't have to hit a clock or lift anything heavy. So I would tell him I owe him a blood debt, but he's like, well, the book's good. Like, and it's like, well, I say humbly, objectively, like I think they're good, sure, but there's a lot of good stuff that no one ever sees. There's a bunch of great stuff out there that for one reason or another, like no one's ever going to see it. And so I'm super lucky to be given the opportunity. I was sort of in a period with like Xander Cannon and Matt Rosenberg where we sort of got like literally discovered. And like, that's cool. Like, that's cool. So that's basically from like the work begets more work. Everything sort of goes back to Sex Castle in my head one way or the other because it got me a lot of work and I keep getting work because of that. So that's my story. That's my origin story.
Dude, this is like the stuff dreams are made of. Like,
it's something. It'd be nice if there was more money in this dream, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I start dreaming at 30.
Well, the thing is, like, I think for creative and I think for anything, and even with having kids, is that, man, if you want it, we can do. Listen, if you don't have any arms, it will be very hard to make it the NBA. Okay. There's something
not impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's like it's gonna be hard, right? But I do think for things like for anything within reason that's not like that, where you would have to have some sort of gift. I think like if you want something enough, if you just keep doing it, if you're thoughtful about it, if you're objective about what you're doing, I think you can do anything. Like I really think human beings we just have to go, this is what I want, and how do I get there? But if you do it, even badly, you'll get better at it if you're thinking, hold on, like let's say it's bowling, like, oh, quit throwing it in the gutter. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I got to quit throwing it in the gutter. Like, good. That's a good start, though, right? Like, that's a good start. If you never throw it in the gutter, I bet you're like suddenly in like the top 80%, right? If you just never throw it in the gutter. And he's like, well, I want to get better. Like, you watch people bowl. You do some research. You bowl all the time and go, that worked. This didn't. When I first started making comics, I was making them all the time. But also the benefit of doing it so late is that I had 33 years of story and seeing what I liked, because it's like, these are the things I like. This is why I like them. This is how this could have been better. Like for 33 years, I was very critical about story. So I think when the time came, it's like, oh, as long as I'm making a very specific thing, a thing that I wish existed, it's easy to make that work. And then you go, okay, what could I have done different? What would have made this stronger? You know what I mean? Like that's how you do it. And I think you do it with music, anything. I think anyone can do anything if they just put their mind to it. And I don't think there's an age limit on that. I just think you have to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
He said no. He's like, yeah, it's not happening.
Well, no. It's almost like, so my background is that I right now am in film school. I'm doing my film major, and then I'm doing a minor in acting. And I love comics. I love comics. I've been reading comics since I could probably think thoughts, and I have amazing
That was
parents.
last year, by the way.
No, that was the last year. That's you last year.
Me. Yeah.
I have amazing parents who were always showing. My dad was showing me comic book shows because he came here to America when the '90s was really big and all those comic shows were coming out. And my mom just knew I liked it a lot with my brother, so she was cool with it. And I don't know. It's nice to hear that like there is that like end game because I've always said or I've always thought I could like I'd love to write a script for a comic book.
It's easy. Just do it. Like
I mean,
I think like here like this is and this like I went to school to be a painter, and here's the thing like there's only like one real art gallery in Southern Indiana, and through good luck, it's a lot of good luck, there's always a lot of good luck, but I think if you put yourself in position to be ready for things to happen, then it's less good luck, right? But I worked at one of the only real art galleries in Southern Indiana as I was a freshman in college. And I learned a lot about networking. I learned a lot about the hustle. I learned a lot about how good you need to be to do that as a living. And I very quickly realized like I'm above average at fine art, right? Fine art, not like painting barns. I can paint a barn like no one's business. But like fine art. But I realized I cannot do this as a professional. I'm not good enough. And so I transitioned to graphic design, which I never even ended up doing. And it's like, I think but the thing is, like, I always loved comics, and when the time came, I was like, I'm just going to finish a comic. That's the difference between a pro and an amateur and anything, and that's what I learned from art school, which I think is true for any creative endeavor. Is that you learn networking, and you learn that everything has to stop. There's always an end, and it's never when you want to be, but you have to end it, and it's not real until you end it. But that goes, you want to like me and my peers, like a couple, like oh, you make comics, like making a comic. Once you make a comic, even if it's a bad comic, then you're a comic creator. Like even if it's a bad one, you're a comic creator. But what you'll find, and I'm sure like it's true for film, is that the moment that it's done is the best feeling. That it's not for like some weird high, but you go, I made this thing and now people can consume it. And for me, I've never once thought about making stories for the void. It's never some sort of spiritual act for me. Like I want to entertain people. I want them to read this thing. I make it for other people as much as I make it for myself. But the reward of when they can't see it until it's done. It's just like those paintings. Like I just feel like, oh, you went to like there's no finals, there's no test. Like you just have to have this giant piece of work done, finished or as close to finished. You know what I mean? Like finish. Things creative can never finish. Like you can do them forever. You can draw a hand for the rest of your life until it'll never be right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you're like, oh, now I have to draw 6 other hands in every other panel. Like that's the thing you learn is like it has to end, and that's what like I think that's what makes me a well fitted for comics, because it's a production form first. Like it has to come out every 30 days. It has to come out every 30 days. There's lead time, but if I get 4 weeks, I don't get 5 weeks. I get 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Like you have to come out. So being like it has to be done. You could tweak it forever. You could mess with it forever, but once it's done, now you're a professional, right? At that moment, you now made the thing, and making things or finishing things is better than making things, because then you get to do it again, and like doing it again is great because you go and film and comics are very similar because they're collaborative, and because there's like a set time frame, right? Like there's, or you know what I mean? Like if this is so many pages, this is if it's a short film, it's this long. If it's you know what I mean? Because it's collaborative, I think they're very similar. But you go, okay, well for the next one, these 3 shots didn't work, these angles didn't work, I need to address the actors better. You know what I mean? Like you learn so much, and that's every project as you go, and you're just constantly learning. And as you learn, you improve, and as you improve, you start getting better opportunities or better rewards. But then you'll like there's new problems that are worse than the old problem, which sucks so bad. But like there's a lot because I'm 49. And I'm kind of just now in comics, really, if you think about it. Like I'm only just now something that people cares about with End of Life and Peacemaker and Lobo, which no one read. I Hate This Place was really good for me. Where Monsters Lie was pretty good for me. Where it's like I'm at a point now where I'm kind of a known commodity, which I feel like I've been a known commodity for a long time, but I'm at a point where people care. Old fanboy there didn't mention anything before 2020, but I've been doing it for a while. But that's and I'm not offended. I'm like that's how it is. Is that these are the new works, these are the big works, is that I'm just now at a place where people are sort of seeing my work. It's like this, but I'm old. Like when it doesn't last forever. And when that time comes, when comics is done with me, I'm still going to be making comics. I'm never going to stop. And that's the great thing of for being me versus being like a filmmaker. Because filmmaking's so collaborative. It's like I can draw it. I can make whatever I want whenever I want to make it. I don't have to rely on anyone else. I can always make a comic. And I will. I won't stop. I'll be dead. I mean, on the deathbed, I'll still be drawing something stupid. I guarantee it. It'll probably be wrong, dog. It'll probably be like 72 years old and just being like, this stupid idiot.
It's gonna be plastered on your wake.
Why not? Let's do it.
So, listening to your story, what books and what characters inspired you to like really start getting into this? And are you still inspired by like works that are coming out today from your peers or from? Like,
yeah. That's the easiest part. I mean, when I was like working at a comic shop, you get to read everything, like everything, and it's tough for me to like now, especially because I'm so far removed, to be like, oh, these are my favorite things. But like, I was an X-Men guy from the beginning. I loved Giffen DeMatteis as JLI. I loved Evan Dorkin. I love Evan Dorkin. I love his Bill and Ted run. His Bill and Ted run is insane. I like New Warriors. I like Mel Grunwald. But like, I'm so far removed from that now. Like, I'm reading probably more superhero comics in 2026 than I've read in a long time. And I'll tell you what helped me in terms of like inspirationally. Someone introduced me to this Norwegian cartoonist named Jason. And Jason has a book called I Killed Adolf Hitler. You guys know I Killed Adolf Hitler, right, Hans? He has another book called Left Bank Gang. He has a book called Werewolves of Montpellier. Anyway, you don't know him. That's okay. He's this Norwegian cartoonist, and everyone's anthropomorphic, and everything is shot very simply. His lines are very simple. There's no emoting, and I always say it looks like if Hitchcock made a cartoon. Like It's always these very sort of cool mashups. Like it's a noir vampire movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Last Musketeer. I hate Adolf Hitler is about this. Like being a hitman is a regular job. Like it's a respected job to be a hitman. And someone makes a time machine like, well, you go kill Hitler and things go bad. Like that's the premise of it. But like everyone's a dog. It's weird, but it's the type of thing. I love these stories because I love Hitchcock. The movie's not the person. But when I saw these, and I was probably 31, 32, it was the first time since I was a kid that I went, oh, I can do that, which is a backhanded compliment. But in my head, because I can draw a little bit. I mean, I can draw really well, but drawing sequential, like I can only draw so good. And the thing is that I always think I draw like Todd McFarlane for anyone to really care. And I never thought of myself as a writer. I never really thought of myself as a writer. I always painted and drew. And so I saw Jason and I go, oh, I can do that. And the thing is that it has such a clarity of storytelling. That's what I was like, oh, as long as people know what's happening and as long as it's somewhat interesting, it'll be good or it'll be acceptable, which is the goal. It's acceptable and it's fun. And so that's what I was like, I can draw. And at that point, before then, like, what did I draw? Like, I don't know, but I started looking at guys whose stuff I really liked that brought me joy. I think there's a lot of, there's an artist named Scott C. who does the Great Showdowns, who I love. Venture Time was very big at the time. I think there's a lot of things, Evan Dorkin, sort of trying to find this voice of what I can do that still successfully, clearly tells a story. I wish I was better, but I am getting better every time. I get better. I think Wrestle Ice is my best drawn book. I thought Karate Prom was my best drawn book before that. We're getting better every time. Eventually, I'll be really good. Nope, I never will be. I'll be okay, and it'll tell the story well. So that was a huge inspiration. And then in terms of like nuts and bolts is when I started drawing. Every now and then you go, especially when you're starting, you go, and it's the same with film. It's the same with film where you go, how do I show two people talking like in a way that makes sense, right? Yeah. And here's the thing. In film, it's the same shot. It's literally this, but we do it at an angle. That's it. Yeah. It's the same. Like no one cares. And to me, so like that always works. So whenever I was trying to find out like how do I do this composition, I would look at either Jack Kirby because all of his panels are good, or Naoki Uesawa, who did Monster and 20th Century Men and Pluto, who I think is a modern master. And if you wanted to see great talking heads in comics, he's the best. And you go, these are answers. It's like I'm not stealing, but certainly it's like these guys are masters, and it's okay to look at how the masters did it and take something from them. They're the best. Why would I not do this as good as I can? But I like now, like I love Chris Condon, who's another Vertigo's-man. I think his work's really strong. Jesse Lonergan, who did one of my variant covers for Retzel Heist. I think his drone that came out last year is a masterpiece that we should all be talking about more. I really love Beneath the Trees. I have to look around. What am I read so much more than I used to, and still like probably not enough. But we're so busy making someone. I wish I could remember the quote. It's like if you work in a field all day, the last thing you want to do is go home and like be in the field more, which is true. But I think the thing is like I'm far more critical about the work more than anything else. So like I just read and I waited because it was the least popular one. Like I waited a long time to read Absolute Flash. Look, I liked it a lot. I
love Absolute Flash.
Dude, it's underrated.
Yeah, I don't know why people are hating on it. I thought that first volume was super fun. Like I thought it was super fun. I love the Rogues Gallery. Like what a good Rogues Gallery.
I think it's the art that turned him off.
It looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
What do you want it to look like? It doesn't. At least it doesn't look like how Starks drew it.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like that's
it's no absolute Batman.
Well, I know Wonder Woman and and Martian Manhunter too. Like they have crazy artists. There's only so many crazy artists. You know what? Hot take.
Yeah. Oh, please. I love a hot take.
I really like Absolute Batman. I could. I don't care about Dragotta. It looks like a comic book to me. That's my hot take. It looks like a comic book to me. I think he's really talented. I think he's super good. But like, if it was Daniel Warren Johnson on that book, do you think it would have more success?
I
wouldn't.
I'm going to disagree.
You think if Daniel Warren Johnson did that book, it would have less success?
I think it would have maybe like.
It would have more success.
No, I don't know if it'd have more. Here's the thing that's interesting it's because I'm sure it's because of my age. I don't mean to talk over you. Is that what I was listening to David Harper talk to Chris Conroy, who's my editor at Vertigo and Black Label, and they were talking about how the thing about Dragotta is it feels like manga art. And when I look at it, I read manga, by the way. I don't think it looks like manga art, so I don't see that argument. But if that's the argument, then I agree. No one else could do it. Because if he is the what's like the entry point for manga readers, I don't see why him instead of like an Eric Henderson. You know what I mean? Like I think there's other people that's more manga friendly. So I don't see it with him. But I do think he does that. I'm not cheating on Dragotta at all. I think he's so talented. I just don't. When everything looks the same, I think his stuff looks very similar to a lot of other stuff. And like, well, what are we getting excited about? Like, but if you're like, oh, have you guys? Javier Rodriguez is really good. I'm like, no shit. Like no one does it like him. Like no one. He's doing like see-through pages and stuff. Stipend on Bleeding Hearts. Look, yeah, he's great. No one does anything like. Like that's when I think of like artists that really matter. Like I think of stuff like that. Like if you can do what Javier Rodriguez is doing and have a best-selling comic, that's insane. If you draw like 2026 Todd McFarlane and you're doing really well, well, yeah, of course you are. I hear Nick's the nicest guy too, so I feel awful about saying it. I think it's great, but I just like I like Hayden Sherman's art, but I think that's the best art in the whole line.
Oh.
They all disagree.
I'm a huge Daniel Warren Johnson fanboy, so if you're gonna say, "Oh, him on the book," I mean,
yeah, it would like 12 copies.
I think pound for pound. I think right now, I think Jesse Lonergan's so good, guys. But I think Daniel Warren Johnson probably pound for pound is the best artist right now. Comic artist,
writer.
Yeah.
I mean,
the writing's fine. He writes too good. He writes too good for being as good an artist as he is. He writes too good. Very upsetting.
Powerbomb is one of my favorite books of all time.
Dude, Powerbomb's great. I hate the last issue.
I love his Transformers stuff.
I don't read robot stuff.
So just a little break thing on the screen. There is a QR code if you're watching this. If you scan it, it will take you to Kyle's website as well. So
hey, buy from your store first, though. Don't buy from me. Buy from your store first.
He's got stickers on there. He's got stickers.
I do. Yeah, that is true.
Are there more coffee mugs on there?
No, because I have to have them for shows, and I don't know how to mail one. I don't have that many left, actually. Chicago was very nice to me. I think I sold 3.
Sold at least 1.
No, I sold like 9 in Chicago. I was like, what's happening? Unbelievable. But I think I think like 6 months from now, when I'm on issue 7, the mug will do better.
I'm
But here we
happy.
are. What's that? Go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say I'm very happy to hear that Chicago treated you very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. For the first time in a while, I really love Chicago, the city. I don't like driving there because we have to drive through Indiana, which is a nightmare. But the
Yeah.
show has really fluctuated, and I think it says a lot because that weekend, Kansas City's big show was going on, Planet Comic Con
Yeah.
was going on, and Lexington has a very, very nice show that's kind of celebrity heavy. But Lexington, Kentucky is in the Midwest; it's not that far away. Their show was that weekend, and I was really worried about it. But it felt like, and I think it's indicative of the nature of the industry right now, is C2E2 felt like they were excited about comic books. They felt like the conversations I had with people were about comic books. And for the 2 years prior, it was not that. It was a lot of people being like, "Oh, how did you get to do the Peacemaker? How did they know you did that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Did they know I did that? Like they paid me to do that. What are you talking about?"
You just snuck in.
Yeah, like, when I did Rick and Morty, there was a lot of like, "So how do you do this yourself?" And I'm like, what? No, have you heard of Rick and Morty? Like it's a whole thing.
I definitely agree on this sentiment that it felt very more like comic heavy this year because it had been the first time I had been since maybe post pandemic. And I got so many comics that I've like actually been like looking for, and the conversations I at least had with some vendors was just like everybody was so like, "Oh, this is the new comic we're doing. This is what we're doing." And it's like it was great.
Yeah, I felt like people. I think the Absolute line's been really good for the industry, and I think that's like God bless them, thank God, because we should have been trying to do that 5 years ago, if not 10 years ago. But who cares what people? But Transformers being very good obviously helps people stick around. GI Joe being good helps people stick around.
Yes,
I think there's this thing where like I was talking to a DC editor. I was like I kept. I'm really good friends with Matt Kent, who's really good friends with Jeff Lemire. And I kept trying to get Matt to find out from Jeff what Absolute Flash was selling. Because I bet like the numbers for Jeff, who sells crazy, who sells really well, who sold really well his whole career, I bet those numbers are mind-boggling. But like Matt doesn't know what Absolute Flash is, so he couldn't help me. He wasn't very helpful. So I don't know but so I was talking to an editor because I'm very interested. We have to do our own promotion, and social media is dying. And so it's always like I'll do any podcast, which isn't a backhanded compliment. But like, how else will people know about me? You know what I mean? How else will people know about me or my work unless I'm talking about it or someone's talking for me? And I can't get people to talk for me. But I was saying to an editor, I was like, I was watching these TikTok. I'm watching the TikTok. What are they called? Like, not streamers. Like, when they can their opinion. Influencers, that's the word. Influencers. I was watching. I go to like the NCBD hall to see if they're buying one of my books. They didn't. Don't worry. Just to see. And it's like here's what it was like. Like every week it was Absolute, Transformers, Battle Beast, and maybe Exquisite Corpse. You know, like that's all they were buying. And I was like, that's so interesting. And each person would then have like 2 things that the other person doesn't have, right? But there's like they're all buying the same 4 books for sure. And when I worked in a comic shop, outside of it being like this is the hot book, these are you know what I mean, like this book's hot, it was never so clear cut. So I asked my editor, I was like, is Absolute like doing that well? Is it outselling like everything else that much? And he said it's selling so well it's turning into a problem, or it's almost a problem because people aren't buying, they're not trying anything else. But the thing is, and you go, oh, that sucks for me because Wrestle Heist, did terrible. Because where's the readers? Because the readers are reading Absolute Batman, and I think some people are a little salty about it. But when it comes to comics, everyone starts with Batman and Spider-Man. Everyone starts with Batman and Spider-Man. Yeah. But at some point, you go, oh wait, Swamp Thing. Oh wait, Preacher. Oh wait, and here's the thing: I'm Preacher right now. So the hope is that the people, and I think it's true, is that the people who Absolute has brought into stores are now at a point where they go, oh well, like DCKO was the thing everyone had, and like I know it wasn't that good, but everyone had it. You know what I mean? And it's like you go to the thing where you go, oh well, what's good then? And people go, oh, you should read End of Life, or you should read Peril of the Brutal Dark because it's great. They're at that point where it's like if you're going to go indie, you can't look over an image and go, I guess I'll try, name it. There's too much. But you go, oh, DC has creator-owned stuff that's not superheroes. That's what you'll try. And then when you like that, you'll go, oh, I really like this Peril of the Brutal Dark by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. And you say that, someone else will go, oh, have you read any Brubaker ever? Like, have you read any Ed Brubaker? And they're going to go, what? No, I don't know what that is. And you're going to go, oh my God, I have 17 great books for you. Like, you're gonna have the best next 3 months of your life because you get to read Ed Brubaker for the first time. And we're not even going to talk about Criminal. We're just going to talk about the single standalone books. And like that's what's great about comics. But like because of all these people are so enthusiastic about comics right now, like I think we're about to do this thing where they should. I think that's why the specular market, that weird spec thing happened the last 2 months, where like suddenly like dorks and white guys are selling out and no one cares. Like because those guys, that's part of comics too, right? Where you go, hold on, my absolute Batman #1 that I bought is worth $10,000 or whatever. It's like, oh, these are worth something.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're not. They're not though. Just that one. Sell it. Just that one thing you have. So I think that's also is like you start with Batman, Spider-Man, and then you go, oh, maybe these are worth something, or you go, oh, I want to read more stories, which I think is what the manga kids like. So I think it's just a really exciting time for comics. I think, and I think that felt like that at Chicago. I felt that vibe is that everyone was talking about comics, and I'll tell you, it's been a long time since that happened.
No, for sure. Because I remember when we were initially just talking about doing the podcast, we did our little intro episode, and I was like, "Oh, I've been reading comics since I was like 7." I think Fanboy said he was reading comics since he was 13, and Anthony was like, "Oh, I started comics last year." And my brother, who I love absolutely to death, will always be the first one to call me out on anything. He says, "You know, I listened to your podcast, Max. You really have like 2 decades on them." And I'm like, I guess I do. And I love that because like we have these conversations where it's like Anthony and Fanboy read so much more indie than me. I try to stay up to date, but it's hard.
There's a lot of books out there, man. There's a lot of books out there.
There are, and they're like, oh, read this. I don't know. Anthony's been telling me to read something. What is it? Something in the trees. Something. The children.
Oh, Beneath the Trees.
Beneath
the Trees is amazing.
I know.
Get on your Hoopla. It's actually they're putting Beneath the Trees on Webtoons right now. You can read it on Webtoons for free. I would say Beneath the Trees, I think which came out last year. Is that right? I think it's last year, right? Yeah. Was the first book in a long time where I went, oh, what's this? Who's this? This book's great. And it's been so long that as a creator and as someone who loves comics that I went, oh, this is perfect. Like this is great. This is perfect.
No, for sure. And it's like so I've like I got back into all of this, but it's you bring up Absolute and it's so interesting because like my dad can't read comics. That's not his speed. He'll watch anything.
He's dead?
No, he's an old Ukrainian man.
Okay.
Man, yeah. You know, but you know he'll always say, you know, my favorite characters are Spawn and Batman. And
sure.
And one time I was at home, you know, I was just kind of sitting on my phone and I'm just like doing stuff. And he says to me, oh, I forgot to tell you, I saw this new Batman design. Why is he 6 foot and has an axe? And I'm like, oh, this is Absolute Batman. And it's like, it's insane how popular like just that, like the Absolute titles have become. Cause like, I remember when I was first announced and I was like, okay, this is something. Scott Snyder's coming back to Batman. Okay, I'll pick that up. Absolute Martian Manhunter looks fun. I'll pick that up. And immediately it was like, oh my God, this is hotcakes.
Yeah. They know, like I'm very interested about all the next level stuff coming out because I know Scott just knows what comics are supposed to be fun and they're supposed to be cool and they're supposed to be full of moments that make you go, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And he's the king of that. That was awesome. But it used to be like when I was young, like, and there was less comics. That's how you decide which one was the most awesome, you know. And then you told someone about it because they didn't know. I just told these guys like the community is so important because that's how you hear about it. So you should be like, Dad, check it out. Like if you like Batman, you'll probably like this one. Like check it out. Let him borrow your #1 first printing.
Shout out Jeff Lemire, by the way. His book came out today, the Firestorm book.
You did. Yeah, it did. I was able.
I have not read it yet.
Yeah, I'm interested. Firestorm is one of those characters that like all the writers want to do Firestorm, and I don't know why. But
they're like,
get
want to
touch
this high school that's also connected to a full-grown adult, and they share a body.
Yeah, they do chemical fighting. You know what I mean? Like, okay, sounds like smart guy stuff to me.
All right. I feel like we've kind of been steamrolling fanboys. So fanboy, I'm gonna call you up to the front of the class.
No. Okay,
What?
fine. Doom,
Is he
doom,
here?
doom.
Is he here?
Fanboy?
Hello? You guys can't hear
Yeah.
I
me?
think your
Yes.
mic's muted, fanboy.
Mm-mm. I can hear him.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm fanboy. I can hear you.
I hear you, fanboy.
Okay.
But
You're just being
I'll-
you're being gaslit by Rocky.
Well, I'm just curious, like, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Like, since you do like, original stuff like End of Life, and also some like pre-owned stuff like Mars Attacks, like, are you interested in doing more of your own thing, or?
Well, I mean, over my career, I've done almost entirely creator-owned stuff. I don't know what the like by issue. I did 5 years of Rick and Morty, so I don't know what the percentage is, but like by title, it's probably now he's gone.
Oh no.
He'll never know the answer. Tell him when he comes back it was a really good one.
Oh.
And that's how I feel about that.
Like, I can still hear you. Like, I was still in a meeting, and I had just disappeared. Sorry about that. Sorry.
So no, it's interesting because like I feel like someone asked me that at one of those two shows. I just did Emerald City and C2E2, and someone was like, "Oh, do you have any interest in doing creator-owned stuff?" And I was like, "Shit, that's basically all I've done. I'm trying to do the other stuff because that's when people start to care." Which again, case in point, we said it from the beginning. Like before Peacemaker raised my Q rating so high. That Thanos one shot. I did the Pet Avengers. No one read that though. It's okay. It was really good. But like that's what matters. The thing is, there's a thing in this industry where until you do like a solid year or two, probably run on something or with a company, they just don't care. You're not real. It doesn't matter how much success. I have 3 Eisner nominations. You know what I mean? Those are for creator-owned books. I've optioned everything that I've owned. Everything I've owned, Hollywood's given me a check for. That's mine. That being said, so like the creator and stuff, like we just had this conversation. They're like, oh, what are notes like or whatever? What kind of direction did you get on the Vertigo book? Like none. It's creator owned. Like they let us cook. That's the whole point. Is that we know how to cook and they let us cook. What I'm interested in is doing more Big Two stuff in some capacity. Because I'm at a point where I thought Peacemaker was going to be it. I thought Peacemaker would validate people enough, and I've sold my older stuff really well because of Peacemaker. But it's even in the end of life won't service me the same as saying name a character. I'm not going to do it because if I say it, it feels like I'm manifesting something. Name a superhero.
Nova.
Nova.
I was about to say Spider-Man.
All right, Spider-Man. Can you imagine the Kyle Stark Spider-Man book? Let's not. But like a
It would be
year.
better than what's coming out right now.
Well, I can't speak to that. Like me doing a year on Spider-Man, and doing 2 years on Colossus would do more for me than those 3 Eisner nominees. Because what would happen is, I mean, I don't think I'm telling you guys anything you don't know, but like Batman every month sells 150,000 copies, right? It sells 100 plus thousand copies. I have no idea what the absolute books are selling, so we're going to ignore. We're just going to deal with comics from 3 years ago. Is that sells 100,000? Probably the number 2 book. If it's hot, it's selling 75,000. Maybe it's 100,000. The number 2 book, but then the drop off is huge, right? Like the next book you're looking at 50,000, and then the next one you're looking at 30. So there's a thing where you go, well, all of the industry that matters is reading Batman. Like that's 100,000 purchasers, whereas everything else is getting 20. You know what I mean? So like the Big Two matters in regards to Scott Snyder did American Vampire, and then he did Batman. But everything he's done since Batman is what like he can do whatever he wants now, and it doesn't matter because he's made. Tinian, I don't know what Tinian even did before Batman. I have no idea, and I love Tinian. But everything Tinian's done creator owned is great because he's a real creator. So there's this thing where if you go from Big Two to creator owned, you're legitimate, and like now your stories matter. Whereas I'm doing it the other way, and then I'll go back. But I really feel like I have a unique voice, and it's varied and distinct, and I can do the things they would like me to do. I'm trying very hard to let them to even like, why didn't I do a Justice Gang comic? Come on, guys, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Why haven't I done Guy Gardner yet? No-brainer. But I want them to give me Constantine. I want them to give me Ghost Rider. I want them to give me the things that don't make sense, because I think I'll do a really good job. And that's what we're trying to do, is like with those books, you get to tell great stories, but it's playing with toys. Like my stuff, that's me. Like that's mine. It's all me. Those characters are me. Gabby and Trudy, that's me. Eddie Stallion, that's me. Like that's mine. If you give me Guy Gardner, I'm gonna do a really good Guy Gardner story, but it's not mine. You know what I mean? Like it's never going to be mine, and all I can do is try to make it as entertaining as possible, and that's what I want to do. I want to make the best Guy Gardner. Well, here's the thing: Guy Gardner is one of those guys. I'll do the punch. I'll never outdo the punch. So there is a sort of a ceiling to how good you can do. Like there's no beating that story. But it's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I feel like I'm in an era where I want more of it. I need two-year run, or I need like a seminal work. I think Peacemaker is a seminal work. I say that humbly and objectively. I think that's a timeless book that we made. I think that's a book you could read in 10 years. That's still going to be fun and funny, and heartfelt and beautiful in a way, I hope. So yeah, so it's the opposite of what you asked me. Like I've done so much creator-owned books, and I love them. But I'd love to make money too. You know, I really love to make money. But I want to play with these characters, and you know, that's how I got into comics. Like by being in love with these characters, and I really want to play with them. I really want to be given the opportunity. I think I'm close. But I haven't made it. I haven't made it until someone's really mad about what I did with Count Vertigo or something.
What a poll! Just Count Vertigo. That's great.
That's what you get mad about.
So man, I feel like we should manifest for you though. Like
yeah, make it happen.
Like,
let's see Kyle Stark's Blue Beetle.
Why not? Maybe Ted Cord though. Some people be like, "Why is it Ted Cord?"
Where's Booster Gold? Where's his boyfriend?
Give it to me. There's some that are so obvious. Like I would almost. My dog wants out so bad. Like Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, sure. Guy Gardner, sure. Deadpool, sure. Like there's some things that like I would do a good job on because they're so in my wheelhouse. But it's like I kind of want to do something unexpected and cool. And
I would love to see you write Moon Knight.
Sure. Shout out to my friend Jed McKay.
You such good Moon Knight run.
I'd do it.
Nice.
Let's see here. So where would you say like the origin of your art style comes from?
Yeah, it's kind of those things that I said. A lot of Adventure Time and Scott C. and Evan Dorkin. You just take the things, and for me, again, the most important, Jason, honestly, because they're very similar, like physical styles. Drawing Rick and Morty for 5 years helped.
Yeah.
But I drew like that before. You know what I mean? Like the only change in my art really from before Rick and Morty and after Rick and Morty is that I added full eyeballs. I used to just do dot eyes, and afterwards I was like, oh, I can emote. You can do so much more emoting if you have actual eyes, and I think people connect to the characters better if you can make eye contact with them. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I was asked to do that book. So drawing that probably influenced me because I drew those characters so much, but I was drawing like that before. I think it's really, I know I'm forgetting somebody. Like I do sort of a cartoon physics, because I don't think like proportions and stuff are important to my work. I don't think I didn't do real backgrounds. I didn't do perspective backgrounds for a long time. I'm doing them now because I really enjoy them now. So I sort of had like these sort of like the backgrounds they were just free-handed, like, which I liked because it felt like there was sort of a chaotic energy to all the stuff. But man, my art, like I'm very I look at it very functionally. Like I just want to tell the story clearly, and I think I'm very good at doing panel to panel stuff. But like it's not special. It's fine. It's fine.
How does you being a comic book artist and being a dad, like how does that influence your work? What is that like? You know, with like your family and everything.
Well, they constantly interrupt me all the time. I never get anything done. I think I'll tell you, like, which isn't work related because they don't have anything to do with my work. But my dad worked at a factory. Now we lost another one.
I'm okay. I'm still here. I'm waiting
don't
for
know what's
hosts to join.
I don't know what's happening.
I
It's people keep disappearing. I feel like the what's the thing when heaven takes everybody? I feel like that thing's happening.
rapturing.
The rapture. I feel like you guys are getting raptured out of this.
Here, let me see if I can re-add him.
I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here. I think you
That's so
see me.
funny.
I'm just gonna remove him and have him rejoin the link.
Poor fanboy. Is that the biggest thing is that my dad worked 12 hours at a factory and I never saw him, and because of my job I get to see my kids all the time. That's the best thing. And now they're grown up though, so they'll be leaving soon, and then I'll be all alone again with my wife. She's cool though.
Let's see if they're back.
I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. Well, I'm back.
So you were talking about deadlines. Now I don't know how much you want to talk about your boss is, but Hush 2.
You know what's so funny? I don't know anything about no hushes. Oh wait, see, was Jeff Loeb? No, I did.
Jeff
Loeb
Loeb
was there. We have an interesting story with Jeff Loeb about how you refused to take his AirPod out while talking to Max.
Maybe he uses it to hear better with though.
Maybe
he has the app.
Oh
So
yeah.
He was on a panel. They put me on a panel. I guess it was Emerald City, and it was Jeff Loeb, and it was Dennis Cowens, and Jason Aaron, and G. Willow Wilson, and Tony Fleece. And Jeff, they're like, let's talk about these projects. And Jeff Loeb, he's going on about how Jim Lee's so busy because he has so many kids. But here's the thing: the whole point of the conversation was to hype up our projects and not to be like, let's talk about why this project's not doing well. It was such a weird choice on his part because no one really cares when Hush comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is a production art form. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's supposed to come out every 30 days, and they give you a long enough lead time that it's hard to mess that up, barring emergency or illness or priorities. That's why isn't it came out? It's because Jim Lee has priorities. He has different priorities. That's the long and short of it. He's running that company, which who knows how much effort that takes. I would think by now he'd be really fast at drawing comic book pages, but I guess I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's not that's another thing in the 90s is when sort of deadlines first started getting missed, which I also thought was a huge bummer. Because before then it came out every month. They come out every month. Comics come out every suddenly it's like, oh, how many Youngbloods came out between 95 and 2000? 4? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a weird choice, but I can't speak on that guy. But I thought it's so weird to do this panel. Let's get people hyped up about DC, and then you're like, oh, let me tell you why this book's not coming out. It's like making excuses. What? No, talk about the book that's coming out. He has some other book that's coming out. Talk about that book. He's talking about it's such a weird choice, but he's been around forever and he probably knows what he's doing. He probably owns his house,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. They're here. I think they can hear me. And you. So if that's the case, shoot me a message, you two, and I could just ask questions and we could go from there.
I can't wait to see which one of us is gone next. It'll just be me.
Okay, they say they're here and they can hear us. I just can't seem to add them. So
new technology, new software.
Yeah. But so when it comes to artists, who is your all-time favorite artist and favorite writer?
Oh, geez.
Putting you on the spot.
Gosh. I know there's a right answer to this. I will say when I was before I left comics, I would have said John Byrne for both probably. John Byrne's great, but I do love Naoki Urasawa. I think their art is just perfect. Best writer. Oh my gosh. There's so many good ones.
I'm a big Grant Morrison fanboy. So.
I love Grant Morrison. He would be high on the list. I love a lot of Ennis's work. When Ennis hits, I think he hits harder than anybody. Giffen was good. You know, I'm gonna say this. This is hot take. This is hot take. This is like that's not a real answer, but I'll tell you whose work from beginning to end I just enjoy. Like they never let me down. And I think that's. I think like there's guys like Kirkman, who's not my answer, but like what's the bad Kirkman book? There isn't one. Like they're so consistently good and occasionally great. That's hard. It's hard to like everything's good to great. I think if I had to pick a writer as my favorite writer of all time, I'd pick Mark Grunwald. Do you know who Mark Grunwald is?
I don't.
All right, so Mark Grunwald was an editor at Marvel for years. He edited all the Marvel handbooks. So he was in charge of the history of Marvel Universe, right? But he
Okay.
also wrote Squadron Supreme, which was sort of the first, like, between, not first, but it's kind of a notable, like, they were doing a DC riff, right? At Marvel. He did DP7, which is probably my favorite series of all time from New Universe. He wrote Cap for years and years, and he wrote Quasar, the Quasar series, and a bunch of other stuff. And the thing about Grunwald is if he could write dialogue, and he can't write dialogue. If he could write dialogue, his stuff is such pure superheroics, like Busiek. Busiek's like Astro City, any of his Avengers, it's like pure comics. Grunwald is pure comics. Grunwald's up there. I like Grunwald. Man, it's tough to pick favorites. I just don't really categorize things. Like I can do it with some things. I'm looking over at my shelf. Like I love like Giffen. When Giffen hits, I love Giffen. When Giffen misses, it's a big miss. I feel like, and that's true of a lot of guys. I love Brubaker. I love Brubaker. Brubaker is almost never. I will buy every Brubaker. I buy every Jason. Those are the two guys. And Jason's books are not quite as good as they used to be, but I still buy them because I just love what he means to me. But Brubaker is always good. So it was like if you could do like if you were gonna make the perfect comic, the greatest comic of all time, like. And you have to put like two guys together. I think I would pick. You would say what? It's Alan Moore and who's the artist? Kirby. I don't know how good would that be. It'd be weird, probably. I don't know. It would be 1964, where that comic you put out for Image.
It would be the most interesting book.
I think I'm
Yeah.
too new age, not a big Alan Moore fan.
Well, I think all this stuff really holds up, but there's also like there's sort of like can you appreciate the Beatles, right? And here's the thing. Whenever someone says no, I can't wrap my head around that. And the Beatles existed in the 60s, like, before me, right? I hear the Beatles and I only hear innovation. I only hear how everyone else stole from the Beatles, who stole from everybody too. But like the how different the songs are and how they do a different song on every different type of song, and they're all perfect. Not perfect, but they're great. Like capital G great. That's what Alan Moore is. Alan Moore is the Beatles. Like he was the best. Everything's come from him. Grant Morrison is Tinian to Snyder. You know what I mean? Like that is just a newer version of Moore. And the thing is, like the best Moore stuff is you go, V for Vendetta and Watchmen. You got to find the weird stuff that he did, like Supreme, his run on Supreme, and then you go, oh my God, like you can see it when you look at the stuff that was sort of like him being mad and not trying to burn it down. I think he was not. I think he was really doing love letters. But you look at the little stuff he did, the Supreme. He has this great Green Lantern story about a Green Lantern in a sector of space that doesn't have colors.
I've read that.
Yeah.
So
it's all of that stuff, and you read and you go, are like the first, again, hot takes. The first two volumes of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen are like his Tom Strong. That's where as a comic book fan you can go, hold on, like this guy's crazy good at this. And then you look at Watchmen. I tell them, like, one of my kids is just now getting into art, and the other day they were like, oh fuck Picasso, which by the way, him as a person, yes.
Yeah.
But like as an artist, the Beatles. Picasso's the Beatles. He did it all and he did it better than else. But the thing that was about Picasso is he was not the first abstract artist, but the first notable one is that he could do photorealistic paintings. He knew all the rules. He could break the rules. And the same is true of the Beatles. Like they were doing perfect, straight up rock albums, and then they started breaking the rules. And Alan Moore is the same thing. Like if you can do it straight and then break the rules, that's genius. And Alan Moore is, he's going. This is the most. I feel like it's like a game show, and it's like, who am I talking to? And will they disappear where I'm talking to them? Look, Fanboy's
What?
here now.
I want
Hey!
everyone. We
Come
did it.
back.
Listen, guys, we got rid of Rocky. He doesn't know anything about comic books, I'm told. So now it's a real heads here.
I want to say on your Alan Moore analogy, with specifically with Watchmen, that's so good because I have a weird love-hate relationship with Watchmen. I think I've read that book every 4 years of my life as I've
Sure.
been reading comics. So I read it the first time when I was like 14, and I was like, no, I don't. It's too weird. It's not Batman.
It's too weird.
And then I read it when I was 18, and I was like, oh, I get it. I'm so smart. I'm an adult. I understand. And I recently read it just this past year because Warner Brothers came out with another Watchmen adaptation that they did for their two-parter. And I remember just kind of reading it and sitting there, and I was like, this is interesting. But yeah, Alan Moore is just
that's a book. One, it's interesting. I think comics, and again, hot take, but because of superhero, we're talking about direct market comics more than anything else. Like, I feel like comics are the only entertainment media where you go, oh, well, these are the best too. Like, these are the best. Like, there's no argument in terms of superhero comics. Like, Watchmen's the best one, and there's a real evolution as a reader where I can remember the point where I was like, oh, I like this, and then but I didn't read like the back matter. You know what I mean? And then like a couple years later, it's like, oh, I'm gonna read again. I'll read the back matter. Hold on, wait, like hold on, this is a completely different book now. It's better now. And then there's a point like 5 years later where you see what Dave Gibbons, the artist, is doing with those 9-panel grids and how he repeats them issue to issue, where you're like, hold on, it's the best drawn comic somehow too. Like, how is that possible? I never noticed until the fourth time I read it. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
For sure. And it's so.
It also, by the way, ruined comic books, but it's a masterpiece.
Yeah. No, it's such a good book. But oh my god, it's like, to bring up my dad again, because I love that man. You know, doesn't read comics, but he owns every adaptation of Watchmen on physical media because that's what we do. And he was always like to me, you know, watch things with me. Try not to watch anything without me. I want to watch things with you. And you know, I was a rebellious kid, so I was like, I'm gonna watch everything by myself. And then I accidentally watched the extended cut of Watchmen, Zack Snyder's interesting film. And I remember coming down to my dad and I was like, hey, I watched Watchmen, and he was like, oh
no.
And he's like, what did you think? And I was like, it's something.
Why is he gonna be blue?
Yeah. But we sat and we talked, and it's Watchmen is such an interesting book. It was such an interesting history. Such a such a thing that needed to happen, I would say. For the medium.
It's pretty great. You can't do it for any other media. You can't do it for anything where you go, this is probably the absolute best blank.
Yeah, I for sure agree.
What do you think, fanboy?
I agree. I mean, last time I watched, I was in high school, and I was really getting into reading comics. But yeah, Watchmen's there, and there's a blue guy.
Yeah, who's everywhere all at once and knows everything.
Yeah, he's like what, God at this point from Doomsday.
Sort of. He's like a math god. That's even weirder. Shout out Alan Moore.
Shout out Alan Moore.
See,
he's pretty good. What do you think number 2 is? There's a correct answer. Number 2 greatest superhero comic of all time.
DC the New Frontier, written by Darwin Cook.
You know what? I will allow you to make an argument for that being top 10. Okay. Maybe even top 5.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Number 2 is Dark Knight Returns. Sorry, that's the answer.
What? It's not Nova.
That's
issues
the answer.
1 through 18.
And then number 3, we get weird because maybe you think it's All-Star Superman. There's a case to be made. Here's the thing about all 3 of those. Here's the thing about all 3 and New Frontier to a lesser extent. If you know nothing about comic books, you cannot enjoy them.
I'm going to disagree. I think even if you don't know anything about comic books, you can enjoy New Frontier because
maybe New Frontier because it is there's introductions.
I
But
wouldn't even say the introduction. I think it's a good story about people just trying to live, and they're encapsulated by the heroes that we either know or don't know and love.
I think if you know who Superman and Martian Manhunter are, or if you know about Dinosaur Island, you enjoy that book a lot more.
That Dinosaur Island opening is awesome.
It's awesome. It's super awesome. Yeah, the New Frontier of those four, the least. But I think you benefit from seeing a different take on Superman and a different take on Martian Manhunter, and maybe a purer take. There's a book called what is it called? The Golden. Oh, I'm blanking. It's the guy who wrote Starman, who I like.
um,
The Golden is an Elseworlds. I bet I can find it. Where it's sort of the same thing. Like if you know who these guys are, it's a great story. Golden, what's it called? It said Golden Toilet. That's not right.
To call
That's
it
not.
toilet.
That's not.
The Golden
That's not what
Shower.
That's an ex Vertigo book.
Yeah. Put
Where
Comstock's
is your
on it.
forest, guys?
The Golden Age. It's called the Golden Age.
Oh yes, I have heard of that.
Which I don't know if it's James Robinson who this is like peak James Robinson. He's doing Starman. Starman's great. It's a great basically if you want to see it's very Vertigo to me, where it's like it feels like a creator owned run on a superhero. But it does the same thing where it uses a lot of the World War II video characters, a lot of like the All-Star Squadron characters, and it twists them up a little bit. And it's great whether you know them or not, which I think is true of New Frontier. But if you know who Johnny Quick is, it's better. If you know who Our Man is, it's better. You know what I mean? Like because it's such an interesting twist. But New Frontier is accepted. I think agree. You should be able to give New Frontier to anyone. Also, the art's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Darling, ew, words.
It's pretty good. Darwin Cook's pretty good. Pretty
he is
good.
my favorite artist, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's legit. A little too Bruce Timm for me, but I do love Darwin Cook.
I think that's a very fair thing to say. He's very Bruce Timm. I grew up watching Batman animated series. I remember I think I burned one of my DVD players watching the animated New Frontier film.
Legit.
So I have a ungodly bias.
Yeah, it's a good aesthetic. If you're gonna have an aesthetic, it's a good one. Yeah. And he's different. He's different. It's not the same. I just whenever it's just like the cheap shot I took at Nick Dragotta earlier. When things look like other things to me, that's comics. But also, it's like, what am I supposed to be like? What's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? But I do love that. There's an artist named Mike Pearbeck who did like Superman Adventure. This was a long time ago, but he started on Archie Comics had their own superhero line, and he did a book called The Fly, and he also did some JSA. I loved Mike Pearbeck. He died really young. It's a sad story, but he had a real Bruce Timm sort of angle too that I like. I think that Elsa Charcu, you know what I'm talking about? She does a lot of work. She has a Darwin Cook feel to her too that I really like.
I just bought myself today a issue of The Rocketeer and the Spirit.
Is that the new one or is that an old one?
No, this is the old one. This is DC. This is DC's tie-in with IDW that they did. But I've always been a fanboy, and Anthony can both tell you I'm a huge just sucker for Golden Age pulp stuff. Those were the things I grew up watching with my dad and my brother.
Have you read Chris Condon's book, The Peril of the Brutal Dark?
I have not. I know.
You have to. It's all pulp.
I know. It's on my list. Our resident fanboy is the biggest Archie fan I know. By the way,
That is true. I love Jughead.
Archie's having a rough go right now. God bless him. We'll see what's going to happen. I understand. I pitched for Archie. I got asked to pitch for Archie a few. I'm gonna say months, but it was several months ago. And then they're Oni's printing them now. It's very confusing to me. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I think it's reprinting and some original stuff too. I don't know.
It's new original stuff. Yeah, they're doing new original stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
It's gonna be very interesting. I don't love the digest went away, but I also didn't love that the digest were $15 or something ridiculous. This dog wants out pretty bad.
Yeah, some books are. I would. I don't know. I go to the comic book store we all go to the comic book store every Wednesday, but they sometimes they're selling books there for a little
Yeah,
bit ridiculous.
Agreed. I think they're all ridiculous. I think there's too many and they cost too much. Hot takes. All hot takes today.
Okay.
All right, what are we doing now?
Oh, I was ready for the hot take.
Oh no, I'm doing all hot. My hot take is that there's too many comics and they cost too much. That's my hot take.
I can agree with that.
There's so many good books out there, but you don't have enough time or money to read them.
Yeah, and I just think comics are at their best when they're super accessible, and that means cheap.
Mhm.
And I think because like when I got into comics, which again was this dog is going to pee all over the floor because I can hear it just ringing the bell. This dog is losing her mind. 40 years ago, like I bought 15 comics a week because they were 60 cents. You know what? If 3 of them weren't good, you got 3 different ones. Like you were constantly trying things and you're reading so much of the market. Like you could gauge good and bad. Like there was a real metric, like an internal metric that you can't do now. Like you can't get, who's buying 10 comics? That's crazy.
I think so. We use Comic Geeks, which is I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's an app where you can track your comics.
Oh yeah.
So they give you the projections of like, oh, how much you're like, how many books you're going to pick up this week is going to cost. And I think I had a week. It was just like maybe 3 books. It almost costed me $20, and those were just base covers. And now that there's variant covers, which I'm going to be honest, I like that's how they get me because.
You like the art?
I do.
I let this dog out. I can hear you. I'm not leaving. I'm here. I can hear you. But I have to let this dog out. It's going to pee all over the house.
No, you're so fine. But it's so that's how they get you. It's the variant arts, and then Anthony's favorite thing, Marvel blind bags.
Oh.
Energon's doing one for their new book, Mask.
Are they doing one for the? Okay.
Yeah.
So, comic blind bags, which is.
Blind bags are terrible. Blind bags are a cancer on the industry.
I don't get. I mean, I do because we like the art, right? And we like a surprise and we like a collectible thing. But I feel like as an industry, I let the dogs out. Everything's okay now, hopefully. Is that like we don't talk about stories? That's a great thing about Absolute is that people are talking about stories again. When for so long, I remember I did New York Comic-Con 3 years ago, and people were only talking to me about variant covers. Like, well, that's just art. Like, what is it? What are we selling here? Like, we're selling stories. And so the blind bag thing, I get it because it's like opening a pack of playing cards. But like, what's inside? It's not collectible. Or if it is, why? If it's no good, it's not collectible because of rarity or but. So I personally can't wrap my head around it. Though I do love that variant covers make so much work for my peers. And I do love. I was talking to Jesse Lonergan, who I think is just a master. He's a genius. If you guys don't know him, he did Drome last year, which I think was one of the best books in quite a few years. He reminds me of a formulist Frank Quitely, which is saying a lot. And we're talking about covers because I was like, well, on one of my books, I don't love the variant covers because I don't think they do anything. I don't think you'd walk by and go, "That's a cool looking cover. Let me check out the book." And I don't think any of the artists are like a Peach Momoko where you go, I just love their work. I'm going to get all of it. So if it's not either of those two things, where it goes, you go, that's cool. Like the Javier Rodriguez Nice House cover is unbelievable. Like it's so good. That's so where good. If it doesn't do either one of those things, where if it's not eye-catching, cool, or by a desirable artist, then what's the value of that third variant cover or the fourth variant cover?
And that's very real because I feel like there are times where I'm like, I will be like, oh, I'll see what the variant covers are, and then some of them are just like kind of not that great, and I'm just like, okay, I guess this is the covers they want to do. But then there are also ones like literally today, I was walking in my comic store, I almost bought a David Nakayama Wolverine cover because he drew Patch and he's doing all those covers for Marvel right now. And I was like, do I want this because I want the book or do I want this because I got the cover? And I decided that I'm not going to get it because it's like I'm not going to buy a book just for its cover.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Whatever brings people in, but whenever people talk about like the speculator market, or they talk about variant covers, or they talk about blind bags, I just go, do we not like stories? Like, don't we like the stories? I mean, like we love the characters, but like we also don't really like it when, I mean, Batman's bulletproof, but like if someone has a bad run, they cancel it, right? I mean, like if someone's not
Yeah,
telling a good story that people are enjoying, like it gets canceled and it gets restarted in 6 months when they bring in a completely different team, which is legit. But like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we into here? Whenever people talk about the spec market or the variants are the blind bags, it's like I know they're neat, but wouldn't you wouldn't you rather read a great book? Like we should be trying to buy more great books. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
for
We're gonna
sure.
check on these dogs. And my earbuds are almost dead, so we probably need to wrap it up soon.
Uh,
It's on you, Max. You gotta do it, Max. You gotta figure it out.
oh, 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 that's just too much pressure on me.
No, you got this. You got this.
Oh, so you're writing for DC Virgo. You know, you're doing end of life.
Yeah,
What?
I am.
Oh, do you like writing like? Because I know Black Label and Vertigo, you guys kind of have your own rules compared to like the normal wheelhouse of DC. What's like the differences between that, if there is any? Because I feel like with Black Labels and Vertigos, you guys are allowed to get away with a little more because you are making stories for more mature
Yeah,
readers.
yeah. Stories first. Um, the goals are different because they're. I mean, the Vertigo books are ongoings, so it's different. But the other stuff is they want like evergreen books with Black Label. Black Label is non-canonical. Vertigo's create their own, so there's less canonical stuff to deal with. There's less logistics of the characters. Um, they're not as precious about how they're presented. So it really is let you cook. But it's my understanding, like with the next level stuff, it's kind of being treated the same way, where they're saying don't worry about history as much as just making an interesting story. And I think that's because DC is at a point that Marvel was in for years, where they go, story's the most important thing if you want people to care about it. And I don't know what they cared about for the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the priority was, but I know right now their priority is good stories and letting us do our jobs. And that's like, I love working for DC.
That's
Super
it.
good, super good. It feels like a creator-owned book to me. Everything. Well, I mean, they sort of are, but they just let me cook, man. And like that's, I think, if you want to get good stories, then you let people do their jobs the way they're going to do it, and then you're going to get unique, good stories.
Awesome. No, that's great. That's awesome to hear. And it's like, because I feel like like as of recent of the last few years, have been gravitating towards more Black Label stuff and more of Vertigo. Because I read Batman White Knight by Sean Gordon Murphy, which is phenomenal. At least in my opinion, it's a really good book. But that really opened me up to reading more Black Label stuff, and every time they've announced a new Black Label, I'm always very excited for it.
Did you read Plastic Man? Plastic Man was good.
I did. I've read Plastic Man. I think as of the moment, my two favorite um Black Labels are Batman, Batman Beyond, Curse of the White Knight, and then Mr. Miracle by Tom King.
And Peacemaker tries hard.
And yes. No. Actually, I'm gonna forget my thought, but I really did like Peacemaker. I really.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Are the Tom King books Black Label? I thought they were just
Some of his books are Black Label.
okay. I thought like Miracle and Human Target. I didn't think they were Black Label.
A Human Target is Black Label.
Okay, all right,
No,
all right.
that one.
They probably are. I like those Tom King books. He gets a lot of hate, but I like those.
He does. I do want to say on Peacemaker because I'm gonna forget, and I don't want to. I really,
tell
really,
everyone.
really, yes. Read Peacemaker, but I really did enjoy the way that you carry these comedical moments, and then you have like these really serious, like
Yeah.
very nuanced moments, and something that I, as a writer, really admire about your writing. And
Thank
like,
you. I think the best things have everything in them. You know what I mean? I think the best things have a little humor. They have drama. They have action. They have heart. They make you feel things. I think the best things have everything in them, and so that's what we try to do.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Finmore, you got something to say?
No, not really.
Like it's falling apart without Rocky, guys. It's falling apart. He's the straw that stirs the drink.
I mean, hey, one of the things I would say, love your work, man.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, I feel like it's time, to wrap it up. And so I want to thank, Kyle Starks for taking his time out of his busy schedule, sit down, chat with us. And yeah, make sure to check out his work. In a life, Wrestling Heist, and his website too, through the QR code. And yeah,
it's right there on the screen. But yes, thank you for
your on dog.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. We had a good talk. I hope I didn't get myself canceled with all my hot takes.
No.
Yeah.
And now
Twitter's gonna be crazy.
10:30. Back to work.
Anthony, you want to do our outro? Is that the outro?
Yeah, that's the outro. We did it. We nailed it.
2 thumbs up.
All right, guys. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.